I'm here with Mark Gainsbrough, Executive Vice President for Shell's Global Commercial Business. In the first part of our interview, we explored Shell's move into the biofuels business and some of the lessons learned as an organization. In this part, I'd like to ask Mark to share some of his lessons learned as a growth leader. Mark, you were instrumental in Shell's move into biofuels. Could you share with us some of your lessons of experience?
One of the things that's really important when you're trying to grow a new business area is around having that sort of long-term vision about where you want to take the business. And it's really important to be able to communicate that vision to other people in your organization, in your company. When we were trying to get going in the biofuels business, when we were looking at making the case for moving into manufacturing of biofuels, it took a while to convince some of my colleagues that this was the right thing to do. So I think one of the things that great growth leaders do is that they're very good at converting what initially seems as a challenge into an opportunity.
Well, it also sounds that it wasn't just communication that was learning, but you were having to do a lot of influencing of peers and people at different levels of the organization.
You're absolutely right. It's not. You can't do this through tell and sell. So just communicating this is our vision, that doesn't work. You have to sort of engage personally, and you have to engage with people in a very authentic way. We did a lot of work to make sure we understood the fundamentals of the biofuels business. We did a lot of work to paint the picture for the sort of future fuel landscape in general, so that everybody could see why it made sense, why biofuels made sense in that bigger scheme of things. And it wasn't only about influencing Shell people, it was actually about influencing a lot of our external stakeholders as well. So there was a lot of question about whether biofuels would be a sustainable part of the transport fuel mix. There were a lot of concerns about food versus fuel competition. And we had to demonstrate that we had an understanding of those issues, and we really had a commitment to developing sustainable biofuels rather than any old biofuels.
Would you say that you were spending more time as an individual telling people the story and engaging with people, or was it getting a group of people to be influencing another group of people?
I think it is important that you don't try and do everything yourself. So as a sort of growth leader, you want to set the vision, and you want to make sure that there's a sort of capability for people to get engaged with that. But you can't do this as a sort of one-man mission in a company the size of Shell. So you need to do what I think has been referred to in the past as build a guiding coalition. So you want to get other like-minded leaders who are able to share in the vision and help sort of communicate that more broadly.
In your experience with this change, did you observe some cultural differences or differences in how people responded to the message?
Not everybody in a company is really a growth agent. And that's fair enough, because you need people that can sort of run today's business. So you've got some people who are just much more comfortable with running the existing business than going into a new area. Now, of course, in most successful companies, you've got to be able to do both. You've got to be competitive in your core business, you've got to be driving for further improvements there. But if you're going to be one of the winning companies, you've got to have a growth agenda as well. So doing both is key.
So how, as a growth leader, do you drive the business in a direction, but at the same time support and maintain the existing business?
That's a balance, and I think it would be wrong to do one at the exclusion of the other. So if you look at it in terms of how we managed our future fuels agenda, sure, we put research and effort into new fuels like biofuels, but we've also been putting a lot of research and effort into improving our conventional fuels. So thinking about how the gasoline, the diesel fuel, the jet fuel continue to improve and continue to offer fuel economy benefits to our customers is probably just as important. In fact, it's more important than getting going in a biofuels business. The other thing that's really important is that through all of this, trying to work out whether you focus on your core business or you focus on new opportunities, it's about keeping a sort of really, what I call an external mindset. So really keeping focused on what is happening in the outside world. A lot of growth initiatives fail because companies become very inwardly focused, and that's really a killer in terms of driving growth. So the more you can anchor what you do in external market realities, the more chance you have of success.
So it sounds that it's important to have a whole range of communication strategies and ways of speaking with different people who have a stake in your venture.
Absolutely. I think you've got to look at all the different levers that you can pull. The other thing that I think is sort of helpful is to, when you've got a new opportunity, a growth opportunity, to be able to spell out or communicate how it fits with the core of the business as well. So one of the things that we were keen to do in Shell was to make biofuels part of our core business as soon as possible. So we don't really talk about having a sort of, alternative energies group running our biofuels business. That's not how it works. Biofuels is part of the core for Shell's downstream business.
Mark, in our research on growth leaders, we find that it's critical to have a small number of priorities and to have a lot of alignment with those. In a company as large as Shell, you have so much going on. How do you build alignment and keep people focused?
If you work in one that's got a degree of innovation in it, and I really think that Shell does have a lot of innovative people, your biggest challenge is trying to keep the number of growth opportunities to a manageable level. And we have a sort of innovation pipeline where we take, you start off with a wide range of growth opportunities early in the pipeline, then you have to sort of narrow down and choose a few. So we had a research program for a while which was looking at algae as a possible source of biofuel. And at a certain point we had to decide to stop that R&D program because I needed the resources which were going into that to put into other areas that had a better chance of success. So being able to sort of narrow down your growth options to a manageable number and then put enough resources behind them, I think is absolutely key.
Could you say a little bit more about how you made that decision?
One of the reasons that we didn't go with algae as a biofuel was we just felt it was very, very hard to scale it up to a meaningful level. And to be honest, it also had a lot of environmental issues at full scale. So you're looking for your growth options. Is it scalable? How long does it take to come to market? What are the risk factors involved in terms of technology or economic or political risks? So you do a full assessment of the options and then decide which ones have the best chance of success.
What advice do you have for an early career leader about how they can grow and develop so that they can help their company grow?
The biggest single thing is to have that focus on what is happening in the outside world. So to have that real external mindset so that you're actively looking for growth opportunities. When somebody comes to you with an idea, maybe it's something that was tried in the past and didn't work. And sometimes it's easy as a leader to say, no, we did that, we tried that, we looked at it in the past, it was no good. But I think being prepared to listen to people's ideas and being focused on the opportunities in the external world, I think that's absolutely key. If you look at most companies that have failed or have lost their mojo in terms of growth, it's usually because they stopped looking at the outside world.
Let's recap 3 key takeaways for growth leaders from Shell's experience. Firstly, growth leaders need to go beyond communication and meaningfully involve their team at all levels in building a shared vision and the journey towards it. Secondly, be prepared to make tough choices. Keep opportunities at a manageable level and focus resources on those with the best prospects. And third, maintain an external mindset, keeping an eye out for developments in the outside world which open up new opportunities for growth. So thanks very much for joining us, Mark.
Thank you.
And thank you for joining us for Driving Growth.